Hi friends, Scott Grover with Worship Piano. We're back for another tip of the week. I'm super pumped about this one. We're going to be talking about one chord that is going to instantly upgrade your worship playing. I'm going to show you how to find and how to build this one chord. Also going to show you how to find it in all 12 key signatures so that you can repeat that process no matter what key signature you're playing in. I'm also going to show you some of my favorite ways of how I like to apply this chord into my worship playing. I know that it's going to go a long way in upgrading your worship playing and adding something super meaningful and valuable to your tool belt. So I can't wait to jump into it with you. Let's jump over to the keyboard and we'll get right into it. So we're going to start off in the key of C, just kind of walking through how to find this chord and how to form this chord. And then we're going to also talk about how to do that and to build this chord in other key signatures as well. So we like to start off with what's easiest always. So let's start off with our C major chord. And to find our C major 7th, what we're going to do is we already know that our C major is C, E, and G, using fingers 1, 3, and 5, and we're going to rearrange our fingers to where we're using finger number 1 on C still, but we're going to use finger number 2 on the E, and then we're going to use finger number 3 on G. And what that does is that frees up our pinky as well as finger number 4. And so if we look at our C major scale, we know we have C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. And to find our C major 7th, what we're going to do is we're going to find the 7th note of the scale from C. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the 7th note of the scale is our B note. So then going back to the major chord, the C major, with our fingers rearranged, we're going to take finger number 5 and we're going to play B. And then when we play that all together, this is a C major 7th chord. And this is one of my absolute favorite chords in worship playing because you can do so much with it. So again, we have C, E, G, and B. And this is our C major 7th chord. And then we're going to do the same process as we did to find our C major 7th, and we're going to find our F major 7th chord. So we're going to go over here to our F major, and then again we're going to rearrange our fingers to using 1, 2, and 3 instead of 1, 3, and 5, which then frees up finger number 5 to hit this E note, which forms our F major 7th chord. And again, the same process if we start on F and we count to 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that gives us our 7th tone, our 7th note in relation to the F note, and you put them all together and that gives us our F major 7th chord. So this is the same process over and over again of how you find and form your major 7th chords, and this works in every single key signature, and we'll look at a few of those examples here in a minute. But I want to come back here. So we have our C major 7th and our F major 7th. I'm going to show you some of the practical things that we can do with this chord and what makes it so powerful in your worship playing. So one thing that's great is this is a great way to intro songs, depending on the feel of the song, depending on the feel of the mood and what's happening in worship. So let's start off with the C major 7th, and I'm just going to play a C octave, and we're going to, just like we've learned to roll our C suspended 2 chords, and if you haven't seen that video, make sure to go check that one out. We're going to do the same thing with our C major 7th chords. So you see how nice that sounds? And then we're going to go to the F major 7th and do the same thing. And then we can go back to C, back to F, and it just sounds really, really pretty, really sets the atmosphere and sets the tone. So this is a great way to intro songs. This is a great way to add that in the middle of songs, and can be also a way to kind of style and fit the atmosphere of what's happening in worship. So that's just some of the beginning of what we can do. I want to look at another example of how we can plug this into our worship playing. One of the other ways that I really like to use these major seventh chords, and that is at like the end of a phrase or the end of a chorus or the end of a verse, and it really creates this kind of really open effect where it's kind of like it just kind of hangs open. So let's kind of get into it and it'll make a lot more sense. So we're going to take a chord progression. We're going to take C major, F major, A minor, back to F major. Super simple chord progression. But what we're going to do is the second time around, when we end on the F major chord, we're going to switch that out to be an F major seventh. And you'll kind of see what I'm talking about, how that creates a lot of open space and a great spot to kind of end a song or end a chorus where you want to create some room to be able to flow or jump off into something else from. So let's jump right into that. We're going to just do it in 4/4 time. So right here we're going to go to F major seventh. And it sounds a lot better to end a phrase on that. I really like the way that it feels. And so see how when we end right here, how it creates a lot of space. And depending on what's happening in a worship moment, you can actually just hang right there. And it sounds really good. So to put that into like an actual song example, we'll just do the chorus of Set a Fire real quick, because that's just a very easy one that will kind of show you what I'm talking about here. So, set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you, God. So again, it can create a lot of open space at the ending of phrases. I also, throughout a song, like to just add it in because I think it sounds really nice and gives a little bit of more color and variance to just, you know, the normal major chord there. And I encourage you to play around with this, because you're going to find situations where this sounds really good. You're also going to find situations where it might just feel better to stick with a regular major chord or even a suspended 2 chord. So also something else that I like to do with the major seventh, taking this F major seventh as an example, is we know that our F suspended 2 is F, G, and C. I like to kind of put this together with the F major seventh, which is technically would be a 9th chord, a 9th major. We'll probably talk about this a little bit more in the future, but I wanted to add this in to this video because it's such a great little tip. So what I do is I actually like to play my F major sevenths like this, which I think just makes them sound a bit fuller. And all I'm doing with my fingers is I'm keeping what I just showed you finger-wise, 1, 2, 3, and 5. But then I'm shifting finger number 1 up to the G, which gives me that that note that we use in our F suspended 2. And then I'm just strategically placing my bass notes with my left hand, the octave that I'm playing with on the F notes, to bud right up against to that. And that gives me the F note of the F major seventh. And I just think it sounds a lot fuller. And even, you know, if you're rolling it just sounds great. And I do this on C as well. And if you want to instantly walk up to the piano and just sound like a professional, start off with this chord. All right, so let's go back to using this real quick. I want to show you one other way that you can incorporate this into a chord progression or into a section of a song. We'll use Set a Fire again as our example. And what I'm going to do this time is right before I get to the F major 7th, I'm going to add in kind of a passing chord. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a C major chord with my right hand, and I'm going to play an E note in my left hand in my bass notes. And I'm going to kind of go, and what that does is that makes that F major 7th have more impact, and it's a great way to set it up, especially if it's the end of a phrase. So let's give a real world example of this. So, set a fire down in my soul that I can't contain, that I can't control. I want more of you, God. I want more of you. So you see how that C over E kind of made that F major 7th even feel more dynamical, or have more dynamics to it. I don't know if dynamical is an actual word, but I just made it up. So, but that gives a lot more feel to it. So that is an F major 7th chord. Again, we looked at a C major 7th, and we're going to jump over to the key of G real quick and just give some more examples of how we can build a major 7th chord. Again, if you are not familiar with all 12 of your key signatures, that is completely okay. If you need some help with that, I have a free guide in the description below that's going to show you all 12 of your key signatures. It's going to show you all the scales, and that's going to give you all the information you need to actually be able to build these chords in every key signature. All right, so let's take a look at G. So we know that this is our G major chord. We're going to quickly go through the same process that we did with the C major 7th and the F major 7th. So we're going to rearrange our fingers, and then we're going to grab this F sharp note, which is going to form our G major 7th chord. And again, that is because F sharp is the 7th tone from G. And that is a G major 7th. We're going to look at one other example of this, and this would be our D major 7th, which again, we take D major, and then we rearrange our fingers to grab the 7th tone from D in the key of D, which is C sharp. And that gives us our D major 7th. And again, I still typically when I play these chords, I do incorporate the suspended 2 into it, and the way that I arrange my fingers is the exact same way that I do it when I did it with C and with the F major. So that's exactly the same. So play around with this chord. This is one chord that will absolutely change your worship playing. When you're looking at some of your favorite worship songs and you're practicing through them and worshiping through them in your private time, take a chance to, maybe change the chord chart and try out adding in a major 7th chord in some of the places where there is normally just a normal major chord. So I know this is really going to impact your worship playing. Give me some comments below and let me know what you liked, some ways that you found to use it that really just made your worship playing come alive. And I can't wait to see you guys at the next tip of the week.